Hey, Chad, I ain't gonna lie, bro. This motherfucking shit been on my this nigga Tay600 for that nigga been on my TikTok for you page every day with the speedy ass voice. So like, he one of the last members standing out of 600 too. I ain't gonna lie, I lost so many parlays today for like I'm out this jump sick, bro. My fucking dog licked me in my eye. I'm probably gonna get pink eye from that shit. It's 30 degrees outside, and it's fucking what is it? January, March. It's April. Why is it 30 degrees outside? Let's start there, bro. Let's just get into this shit, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure. Tay600 other rules.
Rondo, man.
Welcome back to another episode of True Street TV, where we cover everything street related. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and let's get right into it. Today's story brings us to Chicago, Illinois, possibly the most influential city when speaking on street culture, as almost every city in the U.S. and plenty cities around the world have been heavily influenced by the Chicago streets, as they birthed the drill era and have impacted countless lives from their music. The man I'm here to speak on today grew up in the heart of drill, being involved in some of the deadliest gang war Chicago has ever seen. And he's from the heart of drill, being involved in some of the deadliest gang war.
Make sure y'all motherfuckers sub up too, man. I'm tired of fucking working for like. Sub up, man.
Chicago has ever seen, and it's from the most infamous hoods in the city. That brings us to the man we're here to talk about today, 28-year-old Jermonte Carpenter, or better known by his rap name, Tay600, who now goes by Tay Capone. Tay was born on the low end, growing up in the Robert Saylor homes, as his mother is from 49th, the hood known as Vulture City, and his father is from 43rd and lived in the Robert Saylor projects. Tay also spent some time as a young kid in the Harold Ickes project building, but during his childhood, his grandmother on his mother's side always lived in 600 territory, living in the St. Edmunds apartment building located on 62nd and Michigan. So although Tay grew up in the projects on the low end, he spent plenty of time at his grandmother's house as a young kid.
We all come from the projects, so like I was seeing shit that I really didn't even know I was seeing at the time, because I was like ignorant as hell to the fact, because I was a kid. But then I grow up and I think about those same memories, like damn, I was really around this and that, you know?
His cousins Lil D, Buka 600, and Jaro City Ronte, who are all brothers, with Lil D being the youngest and Ronte being the oldest. They also lived on Jaro City territory at an early age, and Tay spent a lot of time at their house as well, and became good friends with some Jaro City guys, including FBG Butter, before the war kicked off.
Folks them was living over there and going to school over there at one point. And that's how they met Butter. Then folks them ended up moving on our side of King Drive to Prairie, folks.
It was 600 and Butter, and they was together. Butter and 600. Like, there's a lot of things that went on that many people don't know about. And we beat up Buka 600. Was it Buka? Cause we called Lil D. We beat up 600 and we beat up Butter. You know, Butter was with 600 and there was like a whole thing that had went on.
Being his father's only son, Tay had a very close relationship with his dad, and he speaks very highly on him. Unfortunately, Tay's father would be sentenced to 10 years in the feds around 2007 when Tay was only 10 years old, and this would heavily affect his life going forward.
An interview that your dad went to prison for 10 years when you were young.
Yeah, he probably was like 10, 11 or some shit. And that shit like played a big role in all the other shit that went on after he went to the feds.
And he would say, although Mina was only a year older than him, from this point forward,
he got a whisperer chain
to support him.
I don't even want to
make sure he ate, and she also did hair to keep money in her pocket, and would always give Tay money.
I always talked about in interviews how much my mama couldn't be around because she was always working.
Damn.
She was in the feds, she was working hard. Imagine we 11 months.
And Mina raised Tay, made sure he ate, and she also did hair to keep money in her pocket, and would always give Tay money.
I always talked about in interviews how much my mama couldn't be around because she was always working. My daddy was in the feds, she was working hard. Imagine we 11 months apart, so I look at her like we equal, but she really like my mama low-key, she feeding us. She
hold on.
Money in her to support. Though Mina was only a year older than him, from this point forward
to the feds.
And he would say, although Mina was only a year older than him, from this point forward, Tay's mother had to work long hours to support them, and Mina raised Tay, made sure he ate, and she also did hair to keep money in her pocket.
That's his big sister.
Always give Tay money.
I always talked about in interviews how much my mama couldn't be around because she was always working. My daddy was in the feds, she was working hard. Imagine we 11 months apart, so I look at her like we equal, but she really like my mama low-key, she feeding us. She sending me outside to the block with money. You feel me? Like Mina always did her had a little hustle.
Around this time, Chicago began tearing down the project buildings and the family would begin moving around. He would spend time jumping between multiple schools, including Parkside and Tanner, which are located over east, as well as Nicholson Elementary, located on 60th and Peoria, before attending Bessie Ross around 6th grade, located in the heart of 600. He would say this is where he began getting in trouble. 600 is located from 59th to 61st and King Drive to Prairie. But
061, Gyro City, Bitty, Jitty, what does that stand for? That ain't Black Stone for. That's Bitty for nigga. I don't GD. What is that? B Star, but that ain't Vice. That ain't Lord. That ain't. I don't know.
But back then, the young group weren't claiming a clique yet, and the older guys were claiming Brick City.
Big homie, the Bricks is the 59. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Brick City. If you came out here, it's like the alley is like bricks, like real bricks, not even like cement, bricks in our alley. So like, Tony was on some Brick City, and we was like the younger version of Brick City.
Tay would explain how when he jumped in the streets, Lil Boo was teaching him the ins and outs and was like a big brother to him, and he was a few years older than Tay. Lil Boo and D-Thang would go on to create 600 in 2009, and unlike older gangs in Chicago, which are mostly focused on getting money, Tay would describe D-Thang and Lil Boo as just being gangsters and not involved in street hustling.
They the same, like that's why they was like that. Like them niggas, they don't sell drugs or none of that shit. They was straight hot heads trying to pop some. Outrageous, gang-banging, tough guys.
Which explains a lot, as many cliques after this main focus became warring and get back instead of getting money. I'm trying to focus on Tay in this video, and I will talk about other guys in the future. And I'm also only telling Tay's come up and up until about 2017. 600 is located right next to many hoods, including O Block, MOB, and Gyro City. Tay would also say he became 600 around this time, with Lil Boo being the one bringing him in.
It was me and my book in the room, and he looked over at me, he like, yeah, so Tay, you ready to get with this shit, boy? I'm damn. Okay, cool. What that mean? Booker like, man, he asked you, is you ready to get down with this 600 shit?
Although there was tension between the hoods stemming from older guys, Chicago was known for having parties almost every day, and all of these hoods would party together back in 2010. Tay's career would also be described as the hangout spot, as he was allowed to have all of his friends over, explaining that his mother would rather have him in the house with his friends rather than on the block. In turn, 20 plus members from 600 and other cliques that he was cool with would all be at Tay's crib kicking it frequently. This made Tay develop very close personal relationships with a lot of the guys he was around, not only from 600 but O Block as well.
My mama, she just understood that it was a lot going on outside in the streets, and like literally because we lived in the hood. So as soon as I step out her door, I'm in the field. You don't gotta go over a dude crib, because you could have a girl over here. You don't gotta go to his house.
Everybody had 30. Everybody had 30 first quarter.
You could smoke here. You could smoke
Tay would also say he caught a gun case around this time, as he was only 14 years old. E-Day and FBG Duck would begin dissing back and forth, creating possibly the first drill beef in early 2011, and countless rappers would follow suit following this.
Niggas told me don't show no sympathy for E-Day. I would chop his fucking body up and throw it on the E-Way.
When you talking about E-Day, you went from E-Day to Black.
Because you gotta add them in there. You gotta add Black in there. Because it was Black and E-Day and Duck. They was going at it.
They first started dissing each other?
Yeah, they first started dissing.
The music made it like, I felt like, man, like, woo! I just felt like it went to a whole other level after that. I think started this song's E-Day. I'm gonna be a whole 100 with y'all. E-Day started it.
At this time, Tay didn't have any dead homies from 600, but this would soon change, as on July 17, 2011, 19-year-old Marcus London, who went by the name Baldy, was shot to death, and this would be a huge wake-up call for the young 600 members.
He the first nigga some shit like this happened to at this very point, you know what I'm saying? So the call at that point sound over crazy. Like, I'm getting a call like, what?
Tay and Mina would end up getting in so much trouble in school and in the streets, they was both end up moving to Joliet with their auntie in the summer of 2011, right before Tay's freshman year, where they both went on.
That's why the niggas say if you niggas say you like my sister, you like me. I mean you gay as hell, folks. Now I see why you said that, because they just look alike right here. That look, the other picture, she ain't look like that.
End up
Nah,
getting in so
that's
much
creepy,
trouble in
bro.
school and in the
That's
streets.
creepy.
They would both end up moving to Joliet with their auntie in the summer of 2011, right before Tay's freshman year, where they both went on to attend Joliet Central High School. Tay would play running back for the school his freshman year, but he was back and forth to his mom's house on the weekends. A few weeks into his freshman year, Tay would experience another massive loss, as on September 13, 2011, Devon Varner, who went by D-Thang, was shot and killed. Gyro City Dawn would later be arrested and convicted of this, being sentenced to 20 years in prison. And the crazy thing about this is shortly before D-Thang was killed, Gyro City and 600 had a peace treaty, and Gyro would use this opportunity to get one of the biggest faces from 600.
Wave the white flag, not us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't calling trying to peace treaty with you niggas. My shorty's ready to go. But them niggas called that shit, and then for y'all to take top dog, like, ain't no talking after that.
It's like they called the peace treaty so that they could kill him.
Tay now had 2 dead homies, but this was just the beginning, as just days later on September 19th, Lil Steve, who was the brother of Mimo, was shot and killed as well. Luga's little brother, MOB Scrap, would be arrested for this, but would later be found not guilty at trial.
It was crazy, because when he ended up getting locked up for Steve murder, it was one of my first introductions to the street shit. Like, you know, they killed Lil Steve, he was 14.
Tay also said that back then, MOB was the most...
What the fuck was I doing at 14? 14 was crazy, man. Damn, nigga was breaking in the houses. Like, my little African homies used to try to get me to break into their cribs and shit to take the weed and shit. That shit was locked in the doors and shit. What else I doing? Just carrying weed in school, fighting and shit. We used to beef with the motherfucking Migos and shit in school. That's about it. At 14, yeah, I was fucking bitches. That was probably it.
Most active ops that they always had to be on the lookout for.
Who was that one individual, bro, that just y'all had to look out for, the area that y'all knew would put in business, just like, you know, like, look, this dude ain't fucking around?
It was all, when I was growing up, it was always MOB. Like MOB and Scrap.
Back home, the wars continued taking lives from each hood, including 600, and Chicago began getting very deadly as the city would see a big jump in murders in the coming year of 2012. Another major loss for 600 would happen just a month into the new year, as 20-year-old Shaquille Rush, known as 600 Shaq, would be killed outside of a party. 5'1" Melly would mock Shaq on Twitter and would take credit for this. This is what really kicked off the war between 600 and 051.
You scared of the dark?
Nigga, shut up.
I'm one of them type of guys that be in the dark waiting for you when you gotta go pee at night.
Oh my god. What's that? That's Melly.
You'll never come back to your parents again.
And sadly, Shaq also had a child on the way who was born later in this year. Tay would finish his freshman year in Joliet in June, and they would spend the summer getting into shootouts and making music. He also became close friends with Von this summer. In a clip that went viral a few years ago, Tay would tell 16 Shot him that in 2012, everybody couldn't hang with Von because you're going to end up in frequent shootouts, and Tay was one of his closest friends at the time.
2012, everybody couldn't hang with Von. Like, if you was hanging with Von, you had to accept everything that came with Von. You had to accept that you was going to be in shootings, accept that it was gonna be that, and you had to be with it.
Tay would also tell a funny story that happened around this time, how he was at a party with all the guys and they were all rapping along to the music saying rest in peace to Baldy and fuck one of their ops, right before saying it the last time the music cut off, and Tay was the only one in the party to still be singing along, and he would accidentally say fuck his homie. This was a funny story.
He was just talking about this.
Like, we was yelling like our dead homies' name, folks, and then we'll say F one of the ops dead homies, folks. I swear all the music cut off, everybody stopped rapping but me, folks. I ended up yelling fuck and saying my own dead homie name at the end, folks.
Damn.
Straight DJ scratch. Like, I yelped it, everybody heard, oh, who the fuck done said? I heard a gun cocking everything. Oh! All that about to blow me down in this bitch.
They turned the music off and we all heard Tay say F Baldy, and we like, nigga, what is you on? You feel me? But ain't nobody whoop him or nothing.
Tay would return back to Joliet for his sophomore year, and as the war was fully kicked off, back home, members at Dunbar High School like LA Capone were getting jumped at school. Tay would say Von was the first one to go up to Dunbar because LA was getting beat up. Von would also rap about this in the song Wait.
LA get jumped at Dunbar, right? Usual stuff though, cause he steady having smoke at Dunbar. Long story short, they have a bang out at Dunbar. This nigga Vaughn, he walked there, he tossing that Dunbar. It was him and some more of the guys, but I ain't gonna mention the other guys because they out here still. You feel me? But
matter of fact, this was the day I shut up Dunbar with LA, M-Thing and McAdoo. Jojo died, we left to do.
Shooting up Dunbar with McAdoo and King Von.
I ain't shoot up shit with nobody, but you know, bro, now ain't shit happen for real.
Man, these niggas old as shit, bruh.
Yeah, that's the truth.
These niggas, man, what the fuck? Hey, chat, these niggas old as shit. Shit, DJU. Hey, DJU old as hell too.
McAdoo.
Bro, this nigga look like he like 36. This nigga about 37. This nigga like
and King Von
32. This nigga like 41. He a young nigga. She about 32. Phonomass right there like 29 to 36.
I ain't shoot up shit with nobody, but you know, bro, now ain't shit happen for real. But
okay,
you know,
so that's the true story.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the true story.
And just a few
he talking about some no.
Okay,
Look
so
at
that's
him.
the true story.
Look, he shook his head no.
Yes.
Nah.
That's the truth story.
And just a few weeks into Tay's sophomore year, he would get on the train back to Chicago and drop out of Joliet High School, not planning on returning back. LA would also get shot in the leg around this time, but I wasn't able to find exactly when.
I was with him when he got shot. All of us was getting shot at and shit. When I turned around, folks was laying in the street. He was stretched out, shot up in the legs and shit.
LA would kick off 2013 with a big song titled Murder. This song has almost 10 million views and quickly made LA the hottest rapper from 600.
Get murder. Get murder. Murder me, it's unheard of. On your block, it's a murder.
LA and Rondo would go on to release Face Down just days later on January 15th. 2 months later in March, LA and Rondo would release Shooters. This song has well over 13 million views and was huge at the time. In the beginning of this song, Rondo would say the phrase Tay600 up them Rugers, which made Tay famous as well and looked at as a main face from 600.
Got a lot of shooters. Tay600 up them Rugers.
I used to go in the studio and say, yeah, folks, make this song about me. Well, make this verse about me. The shit I did outside in the trench made niggas get in that booth and say, yeah, Tay600, he gon' smoke you. Tay600, he gon' clap you. Tay600 up them Rugers.
600 will go on to make huge songs, releasing 600 on June 10th with Ide, S-Dot, and Rondo on the song. It has over 8 million views.
Rest in peace, my dad. That's from 600. Ain't no squad like us.
Hey, this shit sound like Fat Trail. God damn, that nigga Trail job like. Damn, niggas sound just like that old slutty boy shit sound just like this. But then you cause some of Glizzy old shit sound like this too. Bruh. But I know all them niggas was clicked up to a certain now I don't know about Glizzy cause he had I don't know, but Trail locked in with them Chicago niggas. I'm trying to think. Hold on, bruh. Am I tripping fool or did we still a flow, cuz?
Shortly after this, Rondo and LA would make history as they went on to release one of the biggest songs to ever come out of the drill scene, releasing Play for Keeps on July 29th. This song was huge at the time and has well over 60 million views. Lil Durk would appear in this video as well, and Rondo would start his verse off again by shouting out Tay, as well as in his verse saying Tay600 up them Rugers quick.
Yeah, I'm a shooter, bitch. Tay600 up them Rugers quick.
Though they did seem they were on their way to make it out, the streets will quickly catch up with
no
them.
Ski Mask is on
a song called With the Shits on September 18th, which has
dropping
well over
shit,
10
no
million views. And around 2 weeks later,
Damn.
on September 16th, 2013, 600 would take a massive loss that they never were really able to shake back from. LA Capone, whose real name is Leonard Anderson, was at a recording studio on the city's south side, recording his verse for the song Brothers, featuring Lil Durk and Rondo. While calling his ride, LA stepped out into the alley. While he was standing in the alley, 2 men approached him and shot him twice. This would be a massive loss for 600 and Tay especially, as LA was one of his closest friends.
When he got shot the second time, the dude that shot him, he like shot him in the same area as the first wound.
Oh,
wow. And it was like when they shot him that time, it was like he kind of bled to death because it kind of reopened the old wound.
The wound.
Niggas was ducking they show, running from this shit. When we looked around, most of the time, all we seen was M-Thing, LA, and Tay.
Gotta talk about LA cause he a legend too.
Tay would jump off his rap career around this time as well, as he featured on a Rondo song called Poppin' Tags. He would show LA this song right before he passed, and would say LA is the reason he began rapping.
Who influenced you to get in the booth?
LA.
Okay.
LA influenced me.
I'm 600, Glock 40 hollows can't run from him. Fuck Brent Squad, ain't young money, keep a Glock 40 for them young dubbies.
Tay also featured on a song with OTF Whiskey called Ruger, released a few days before Christmas.
I'm just having flashbacks for GTA. One of my coworkers got poked today. I'm just thinking about that shit. Like, I just zoned out. Like, I couldn't even, man. Oh my god, fool. I probably would have went to hell, bro. I'd have been a crash, fool. Oh my goodness, I'd have crashed, bro. I'm thinking about that shit, like, man, hell, I'd have.
Rondo and C-Day would release Bailout on January 24th, which has over 9 million views, before Tay would also appear on a huge song, as the group released 600 Part 2 on January 30th. This was a huge song at the time and has over 10 million views. The next month in February, 600 would really begin falling apart. On February 23rd, 2014, 28-year-old Javon Boyd was sitting in his vehicle waiting on a passenger as he was working as a cab driver. While he was sitting there in his car, a car would pull up next to him that contained 600 members such as Rondo, C-Day, Tay, D-Rose, and 2 females, one being Nemo's sister. Rondo and C-Day would get out of the car and approach Javon's vehicle, asking him where he's from, before shooting him multiple times and pulling off. C-Day would again leave fingerprints and drop his phone at the scene. C-Day would have one of the females return to the scene and tell police she dropped her phone nearby and was looking for it. When questioned further, she would claim that she had seen the murder and dropped her phone when it happened. This was a very big mistake, as they did not only take her name and phone number, but her plate numbers as well to her car, and she would later become a witness against Rondo and C-Day.
Whoever did it, if somebody posts something, somebody come forward. That's all I'm asking for.
It was just about 4 a.m. Saturday when livery driver Javon Boyd was shot and killed while waiting on a fare in McKinley Park. By the time the woman he was to have picked up arrived, it was too late. Police say the shooter approached from the vehicle's passenger side, hitting him in the back and legs.
Rondo would end up getting arrested shortly after leaving a Dave & Buster's around 2 weeks later on March 7th. Following that, C-Day would also be arrested shortly after on March 18th, being found hiding at Chief Keef's mansion. For the time being, the men were claiming their innocence, and the rest of 600 were left without 4 of their main members in a matter of months. Tay would release a song with C-Day called Gang a week later on March 25th. Tay would go on to release Money Counter on April 5th as well. And 2 months after this, Tay's sister Jamina would be arrested for unlawful possession of a handgun. She was pulled over after Vaughn and Verney had just shot at someone and her car's description was put out. Police would find multiple guns in her car and she would eventually serve prison time for this.
She caught a case she shouldn't have never caught. Some shit go down that shouldn't have went down while motherfucker was in my sister's car. Motherfucker get up out the car and try to get on feet. When they pulled my sister over, gang, my sister wouldn't even been in jail if the niggas who ran didn't leave their pipes in the car.
And King Von would rap about this in the song Don't Wanna Be Me, where he said that she took the case and she 100 until she fucked on the op, now she nothing. He would diss Mina at the end because she did eventually start messing with 051 Melly.
You gotta think though, bruh. Man, Von's sister, Kayla B, was fucking with them other niggas too though.
Got a bitch in the car, she just drive. We all thought we was blasting it wild. Took the case, man, that bitch was 100. Until she fucked on the
Damn, they got 21st quarter.
Tay would go on to release Hottest in My City on July 15th.
R.I.P. my bro LA, I miss him dearly. I was giving off that work so niggas fear me.
And a few months later in October, Lamron OJ would go on Twitter saying Tay's name was in Rondo and C-Day's paperwork and that he was snitching. Tay would tweet back at OJ denying these allegations. Also sometime this month, S.Dot and Tay released With the Shits. This is recognized as one of Tay's best verses. He went crazy on this song, although it was deleted off of YouTube.
Hey, fuck LA, you get killed in the same day. Lord,
Tay would then go on to release his debut mixtape titled My Brother's Keeper in December, with him and LA on the cover. Tay would also get a Zach TV interview, which was released on December 14th.
A nigga from the south side of Chicago never thought about, you ever thought about being a rapper? This shit just came about, man. How did that shit come about?
How it really came about was my brother was doing this thing, LA was doing this thing, and this was around the time everybody, their mama was
rapping and shit.
Just jumping up the voice rapping.
He would end the year off with a song called No Hook, released on New Year's Eve. This has around 500,000 views.
So I gang bang and that's on the fucking game. Keep it rubber close, I ain't got time, I don't want no fucking rage.
2015 would be equally as bad for 600 as they lost more key members and began branching apart. Tay was fresh off his debut mixtape and will release a big song on March 21st, remixing Roddy Rebel's Computers. Tay's remix has right under 5 million views.
I still keep that real good close, bitch, that's my best friend. Ain't on my block, we got big guns like some on Tekken.
And just 2 weeks after this, 600 would take another massive loss, as on April 3rd, 2015, 22-year-old Jerome Anderson, who went by Lil Boo, was walking near 58th and King Drive when a gold vehicle pulled up and a man jumped out of the car and shot Lil Boo. He would be taken to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, located around 20 minutes from 59th and King Drive, where he would be pronounced dead. This would be devastating for 600, as Lil Boo was one of the founders, and especially to Tay, as Lil Boo was like a big brother to him.
You know, like everything just came full circle when I seen it. It just made me be grateful for, like, you know, still being here. Cause even I'm at the point in my life now, man, where like even the people like that taught me the game are dead. That had direct links to why I am the person I am and how far I came. They are dead.
Tay would go on to release a remix to G Herbo's 079 shit, calling his version Southside Shit, released on May 3rd.
Talking too crazy on Twitter, pull up, put the tape to his teeth. Put the teeth, put some bread on your head, then I go out of town, you be dead in the week.
And he would also release 2 more songs shortly after, dropping Gorillas on May 17th, and him and S. Dot released No Something on May 20th. Although S. Dot did take this video down as well.
Hey, this back when it wasn't no buttons. You little niggas now, fool, they be needing buttons to score. Back then, it wasn't no buttons. Look, it wasn't no buttons back then. You little niggas nowadays, y'all have been cooked, cause y'all niggas don't got no aim. Y'all put all y'all hope on them buttons and hope you hit something. Back then, you really had to hit some shit. Look at that.
And shortly after this,
that shit, y'all niggas would have been survived back then. No ski masks, none of that shit.
Calling Tay a snitch, saying he wrote a statement in the Javon Boy case. Tay would quickly begin denying these rumors and will begin going back and forth with multiple 600 members as close friends quickly became enemies. And shortly after this, on July 11th, Tay would release a song called No Hook, featuring Asian Doll.
40 Ruger, I won't never leave it. Tay600 lacking, you won't never see it.
600 breezy.
Tay was now taking a step away from the streets and fully dedicated to rapping. He will continue dropping music for the rest of the year.
9 years ago.
Gambino Freestyle on August 1st.
Like tell the truth, I don't really fuck with niggas. Ask me about me, I was really fucking niggas.
As well as a song titled With That, released on September 7th, which was a big song at the time.
I think Vaughn got his flow from him. Tay600.
And a few weeks later, Tay would release a tribute song to LA Capone titled Worst Memory. This is easily one of Tay's best songs and has well over 6 million views.
Remember when them surgeons came out and said LA ain't make it? Swear I couldn't believe that shit, but man, I had to face it.
Tay will go on to release Bodies Dropping on October 25th before releasing a big song titled Real Shit on December 23rd. This also has over 1 million views. And then going into 2016, Tay would start the year off with a song alongside EBE Bands titled Poppin'. This has almost 1 million views. It was now 2 years since Rondo and C-Day have been in jail, and they would begin their trial early in March. Tay would end up getting arrested after a warrant was put out for his arrest.
Damn! Ooh-wee! Oh, let me knock on wood. Fuck that, G. God damn! Hold on, ho. Oh, I think I'm cool, chat. I think I'm cool, G, my shit. Nah, my shit ain't like Duke shit or Mac shit. I'm cool, fool. I'm cool. God damn. That nigga got that I don't even knock on wood, man. I don't even want to talk about that shit. That motherfucker fuck around. Curse me, folks. Look at that nigga picture, folks. That's why he mad as hell. Look at, damn. This is why you don't get that many retweets, G. God damn.
For contempt of
What
court,
the fuck?
Tay would also have a gun on him when he was stopped and arrested.
Damn, I'd be
for
mad
this matter, and he would
too.
be booked into jail. Tay would later actually admit to being brought to Rondo and C-Day's trial while in jail, but never had to go and testify.
Why is they calling him to court every time Rondo and them go to court? Why? Because you're a witness, but they don't need you because there's so many other people getting on the stand pointing at them.
They was getting me up out of my sleep, which was pissing me off. You feel me? They was getting me up out of my sleep for something that they never put me never intertwined me with it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it was like they wake me up. I'm sitting in the back from like 9 in the morning to like 5 in the afternoon, and they just like leaving me back there. And the whole time with people catching cases in the whole court system, period, it's never been a point where somebody had told on a nigga, and then when it came trial, he didn't have to get on the stand and tell what he say.
The streets would begin talking, and Tay was quickly labeled a snitch. And like I said before, C-Day did drop his phone at the scene, and he sent the woman back to retrieve it, where police would end up getting her confession and using pictures in the phone to match the outfits worn by Rondo and C-Day.
Convicted them was the jury from watching the videotape. That's what got them hit. The tape, the videotape. Okay. Really, you know what I'm saying? The state was saying, oh, he had on this, he had on that, he had on this.
This killing was really senseless, and the cab driver had absolutely nothing to do with the war. There were plenty of rumors going around that he had something to do with LA dying, but this ended up being debunked by multiple members of 600.
There's so many stories people just come up with, but none of them is actually true. I know for a fact that didn't have nothing to do with LA. That whole situation, from my understanding, was like mistaken identity.
And in the end of all this, Tay never testified, and Rondo was sent to 39 years, and C-Day sentenced to 38 years in prison. This will pretty much be the end of 600, as they only fell apart following this.
Bro,
Tay would end up receiving around a year in prison for the gun case. There are rumors that Tay got jumped in the county for writing a statement on Rondo, and the man who beat him up pulled his dreads out.
And getting caught a pole case. He beat his ass when he went to court. He beat his ass at court though, for pulled his dreads out. I guess he decided not to get on the stand and go all the way through with the shit.
FBG Duck would also weigh in on the situation on the song Let's Talk, saying everybody know Tay is snitch.
That's why I talk about snitch. Well, we know Tay is snitch. We know. But y'all knew that. I ain't really had to say that shit.
Breezy would also go on to do interviews saying he was at the trial and that the lawyer showed him Tay's statement.
Is it the paperwork seen or is it just like a assumption?
There's some serious shit like that. Only certain eyes can see that paperwork. But we seen it. Everybody from this block seen it. If we went to that courtroom, that lawyer let us see it, bro. So we just not gonna lie on nobody, bro. Feel me? And we love this shorty, bro.
This was a viral clip and has over 3 million views, and Ide also went on to do a Say Cheese interview as well, saying Tay snitch.
The Tay600 shit, man. Yeah, you already know, man. That nigga, he ain't right, man. Nigga told, man, you know. He told on, bro, no.
Tay will get out of prison in December, releasing First Day Out on December 26th, where he would seemingly respond to all the rumors. He would then go on to appear on a Say Cheese TV interview.
Yeah. Why'd you cut your hair? Because I knew they was going to cut my shit in the joint anyway, so I just wanted to cut it and have it at least decent before they try to just shave my shit off, and I had one of them funny looking ass froze in my mugshot.
They would continue rapping after this, releasing huge songs along the way. His relationship with 600 never really got better, and he eventually changed his rap name to Tay Capone in honor of LA.
Calling me a rat and never see me in the paper. But the hoes that told you niggas fuck him in the basement.
Him and M-Thang always have been close, even through the rumors, although M-Thang did appear on DJU recently and stated Tay know he was wrong for writing a statement on Rondo and C-Day.
I sit on his couch and be like, oh man, he a rat, shit like that. I just feel like he was tricked out. He was tricked out his spot. He was tricked into saying some shit he ain't had no business saying. So at the end of the day, yeah, he bogus, because as a street nigga, you know to go in there, don't say shit for real. You know, I just feel like he was tricked out of saying some shit he ain't had no business saying shit.
And Tay will go on to rant on live, responding, saying that M-Thang never showed him that energy to his face.
And you mad at me, folk, because you mad I admitted to be... He not even mad at me. Let me clear that up, folk. He not mad at me, folk. What Thang referring to, folk, he didn't want me admitting, folk, to being nowhere near the scene, folk. But I watched him in the interview and them talking to folks, and he like, oh, bro, what did you mean? And what? I didn't say this, and I ain't... What? For me? What the fuck is is I'm looking at?
After 5 total mixtapes and countless big songs, Tay now is very active on YouTube and goes live frequently, telling stories about back in the day and people he was close with. Go check his YouTube out and give his videos a watch. If you enjoy this kind of content, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss it.
That shit crazy, bro. Damn, I didn't even know that bitch was 30 minutes. That's how